Good afternoon and welcome, dear viewers, to the fresh episode of Elets BFSI Innovation Talk, a platform where we engage with industry experts who are making transformational and meaningful changes in the country's financial landscape. And today we are delighted to be joined by Ganesh Gopalan, CEO and co-founder of Gnani.ai, a pioneering deep tech company specializing in voice-first conversational AI solutions with over 25 years of extensive experience in marketing and technology. Ganesh has played a pivotal role in shaping the company's growth trajectory. And prior to founding Gnani.ai, he held significant position at renowned companies such as IBM and Texas Instruments. And he has also recently represented India at the Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence. And his deep-rooted desire to create a thriving deep tech ecosystem in India laid foundation of Gnani.ai. So welcome Ganesh, welcome to the show, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
Uh, so let me begin by asking you, Mr. Ganesh, how do you feel the generative AI role in transforming the landscape of debt recovery in India? What are the key changes you have observed so far?
So I think one of the very positive things about this generative AI wave is uh, we're seeing a lot of interest from customers all across the board, right? So if you see, from a broad BFSI angle, right, you see a lot of the companies today coming to us proactively and saying, we've heard about what you've done with other companies in this space, how you've helped other companies. Now with generative AI coming in, this whole object of using AI to improve debt collection, a whole object of using AI to improve the overall banking experience, right, is now having you know uh, board approvals, right? In fact, the of companies are asking, I would say, division heads, what are you doing in this whole generative AI space? So I think the whole wave is extremely positive. The other positive thing that we are seeing is that, like, we've been in this business of helping companies in the lending space for now over 3 to 4 years, right? Now we've seen, customers also maturing, customers understand, what's the best use of the technology. And like I said, the positive thing is now it's no longer, with middle management or innovation teams trying to push the case. It is like top management asking, middle management that, hey, why don't you implement this and what benefits can you, get for us quickly, right? So AI is no longer something like something left for innovation teams. Every company or every bank, every financial institution is starting to look at it from, how can I get the maximum benefit quickly? So I think overall it's a very positive trend that we see from this whole advent of generative AI.
Good, good. So based on your recent industry experience, generative AI has significantly increased debt recoveries. So, can you share specific data or example from your experience where Gnani.ai solutions have directly impacted default rates?
Yeah, I think firstly we the first customer we had was about 3 years back in this business, right? And even before generative AI became, so popular, we're using right from the days of Bert and others. We've been deeply engaged in the generative AI space. So I remember our first customer we got around 3 to 4 years back, and we did India's first what we call voice bot for debt collections, right? And this was around let's say 3.5, 4 years back, and that customer is there with us even today, right? Extremely happy customer who's seeing huge business benefits of using our software. So essentially, what around 4 years back, this customer came to me and said, "Look, I met him in his office, and he said, my it's an NBFC, and he said, look, my biggest problem is that uh, almost most of our debt recovery happens through field agents, right? And we are incurring huge costs and also potential cash risk. right? How do we go about solving it? And they tried centralizing, they tried using contact centers, but again, that turned out to be an extremely expensive affair. They came to me and said, "Can you use your AI to help us?" Right? And that's when, for him, and definitely huge credit to the customer, firstly, for his, I would say, thinking ahead of the time, right? And willing to take a risk on a new technology. That he came up and said, this is one of the leading two-wheeler manufacturers in India, finance institution belonging to that. And he said, look, and he took a bet on us. And the best part was within the first month of working with that customer, right? We were ROI positive for the customer. Within 3 months, our performance beat that for what agents were doing in terms of collecting. Right? And we were very quickly able to establish, firstly, what kind of, I would say, products are best suited for, say, voice bot. What do we do largely? And our first products were nothing but voice bot, conversational voice bots on telephony lines in multiple languages. Right? So we started with 2 languages, but within 6 months we launched 10 languages. But from the business standpoint, which is the most exciting piece, was within, like I said, within first month, ROI positive. Within 3 months, uh, beat the performance of agents by at least 2 to 5%, depending on the kind of, I would say, the kind of loan that we were tackling. For example, and soon we had differentiated products or differentiated voice bots for whether it's your personal loan, whether it's a two-wheeler loan, four-wheeler loan, whether it's consumer durable, and so on and so forth. So today, if you ask me, we started there, right? And over the last 3 4 years, now we have over 50 customers in India, and a few customers in the US in this whole debt collection space, where we use voice bots on telephony lines, right? Now also supported by multiple other channels, right? So it's no longer a single channel product; it's a multi-channel product. So we know at what stage of the loan process which channel works best, right? Secondly, we also know for what kind of loans which channel works best, right? And again, depending on the profile of the end customers, right? We know which of the products would work, and how much should we spend on each. Again, if it's like, I'll give you an example. If it's like a bucket X customer, like say 0 to 30 days or so of delinquency, we use a lot of voice bots for those kind of customers, right? And it works fantastic. These are customers who just need to be helped, right, with some tweaks in the process, tweaks in and making them understand the best modes of payment, telling them what would happen, and the best way to pay the amount, the best channels available for them, making very easy for the whole payment experience, right? And then answering a bunch of questions that they may have. Again, when we get into settlements, we move further away from 0 to 30 and move to subsequent defaults. We have multiple channels that we adopt. In certain cases, depending on the kind of loans, use voice bot, but again, in some cases, we will use different kind of channels so that we ensure that, to the best automated systems, and sometimes it's a combination of channels, obviously, right? We are able to collect debt at a lower cost, right? And with a high level of accuracy. Again, I'll give you another example. We work with a very large bank, right? And our loan book with this bank is probably around 50,000 crores, right? And we have been working with them now for about 1.5 years, right? And we've seen, again, the similar way we've been, improved their NPA process, their cost of collections by over 30 to 40%. Right. So I think multiple cases, so now we work with, whether you take NBFCs, to give the first example, large banks, and this could be credit card process, this could be process related to, again, the same two-wheeler, four-wheeler, or personal loans. Or we also have started working very successfully with MFIs, microfinance institutions. We also work a lot now with gold loans, companies specializing in gold loans. Now, what we have is essentially today about 150 to 200 ready use cases, right? Now, we would have a specific product for, say, gold loan. You would also have a specific product for, say, two-wheeler loans, right? But within this, we would have a product for, say, pre-due collections. We would have a product for, say, post-due collections. We would have a process that says, how to help in e-nudge, right? So a bunch of these products, and because they're taking a step back, why we are able to do it and not others, and we have about 50 plus customers in this space, is fundamentally because we have our own technology, right? So if you step back and how we started, the first 3 years of our company, we only developed the technology, right? Running from our own speech to text systems to our own NLU, and today we do custom tuned models for each and every piece. For example, we have custom tuned models for lending. We go to one level higher very often. You would have a separate custom tuned model for, say, if it's like a consumer durable loan, if it's, depending on the kind of loan, it could be a model. And since we have gone to that extent, it really helps us help customers choose the right channel, right? We have also started working with customers now and going and telling them, look, tell us your loan book and we will actually help you with the right channels, right? Because we know for what kind of loans and at what, I would say, days of delinquency, which channels work best or which combination of channels work best. So we can also work with companies and say, give us your loan book and we will help you figure it out, right? So I think that's a good progress. And like I said, the positive thing here is today, boardrooms are asking for it. Earlier, the middle management used to have to go to boardrooms for approvals, saying, I want to use AI for this process. Today, the boardrooms are coming back to these companies and saying, hey, what can you do with these books? So I think, and the other positive thing I can tell you is that we started largely with collections, right, in the debt space. But today, our work, the automation work that we do using AI spans all across, right from your finding the intent to lead qualification to onboarding, right, to engaging with customers, and finally to collections need be. So we work all across the spectrum of the lending space.
Fantastic. It's good to hear that how Gnani.ai stands out in the market. So there, every day you got a new player in the market, be it in any sector of the economy. But Gnani.ai has made significant changes in the last 3, 4 years. They got their own technology, they got their own solutions, so which make them stand out in the market. So good to listen that. So my next question is, what role does you see machine learning play along with generative AI in terms of analyzing borrowing patterns and how they work together to mitigate default risks?
Yeah, I think all elements of AI, right? I mean, if you look at machine learning, deep learning, or if you say generative AI, right? So fundamentally, there are different elements in terms of reducing the NPAs. But the first and foremost thing is we need to give loans to the right people, right? So starting with the first stage where we work with companies now on, like companies would typically have, their own underwriting, which they typically NBFCs say that's their IP, right? Now we don't play in the underwriting space, but we do help right from intent generation, if I can say, understanding intent of the end customer. So we have voice bots, to talk to customers, finding intent. Do you really want a loan? How much are you looking at? And what's your salary? Are you salaried? And bunch of those things that these bots do. What they also do is very interestingly. Now we started a product that says loan over a call. Okay. So essentially what we do is it's not as simple as granting a loan to everybody, but essentially it says that we have intent captured, right? We have some details of the customer captured, right? And then we call the APIs of either their own underwriting, or product or any of the credit rating company APIs, right? and then we can give them a loan offer. So what we're saying, and this need not be one channel, this is a combination of a couple of channels, often a voice bot with a WhatsApp or a voice bot with an SMS. But over a single call, we are able to give the customer an offer, right? And this is something that's very exciting. The reason is simple. Uh, you know, uh, Customers, there are two or three problems that customers have. One of the key problems is, how fast can I service the customer, right? And how do we ensure that we service the right customer, right? And do all this at a lower cost. Having said all that, once you get into engaging customers, and then, potentially, let's suppose a customer, finding out where the customers would default in advance, right? So, a bunch of things that we work with, some of our NBFC customers there. We also, during the course of the communication with customers through automated systems, we try to understand sentiment. We derive a lot of insights on why, let's suppose, a customer is default. I mean, I can give you an example. Working with one of our customers, we typically ask a question. The bot, we don't. The bot asks a question. All right, you have not paid, but why have you not paid? Right? Is there a reason or have you just? So sometimes asking simple questions, and since we can do it across thousands of customers at one time, sometimes you get some fantastic insights, which we then you wonder why you didn't think of it. Right. So in this one case, we got an answer from about say about 7-8% of the customers saying, I have a problem with billing dates. Essentially, they said that though by law salaries have to be paid by 5th, right? A lot of these folks were, and this was like small personal loans, right? They were getting salaries around the 9th or 10th of every month. So one of the things is that what the company, based on our insights, company did was just shift the billing date to say the 10th or 11th of the month, right? And that kind of helped. So I think there are multiple insights that you get in these conversations, right? Which again, help in the overall, controlling the NPA. So one of the things that we do is we help collect loans. But the second thing is, in case of default, we also try to reduce the default in the first place by deriving insights and suggesting, steps that the companies take.
Can you tell us about the regulatory compliances, the need for regulatory compliances when you integrate your products in the market? So, have you faced any challenges? Could you tell us about that? As we have seen the case with the Paytm, they're regulatory challenged. So, have you faced any?
No, so I think one of the first things that we do is we've gone and taken us, because we also work in the US market, right? Where obviously even the regulatory compliance are often even stricter, right? So we have SOC 2 compliance, we have a bunch of compliances. We have PCI DSS, we have a bunch of compliance certifications that we have taken from, we got our certifications on. But having said that, the bigger thing is also on behaviors. So we typically push customers as hard as we can, saying that we don't want to store your data, right? The data should be stored only at your end, right? And all access to data should be typically from a CRM perspective, right? It may not work from the first day, but we generally push customers and ensure that this happens. And very positive trend in the industry that I'm seeing is now every company, especially with the advent of Gen AI and other things, is tightening up their infosec, right? So you're seeing that every bank, every financial institution, every insurance company is now, saying that, okay, earlier we pushed you to, that you need to, you may not work off a CRM or things like that, but now you need to, ensure that. So the advantage that we have in, pushing customers right from day one in saying that, we'll not store your data, right? All that then gives us the real added advantage. So I think this is a trend that's going to continue. companies are waking up to the threats that are there in the space. And because we, right from day one, we've started focusing on privacy and other issues, that really helps us in this case. But obviously, everybody needs to be careful going forward because we're hearing of a lot of cyber threats within corporations and a bunch of other things. So I think this is going to be there for a while. I think it's important for multiple folks in the industry, vendors, end customers, and other stakeholders to ensure that the privacy and sanctity of the data is maintained.
It's great to hear that. But they said that lock and key both are powered by technology. So with ever evolving technology, you get new challenges of cyber threats every day. So what's your preparation in this regard to mitigate any impending challenges?
See, for example, we have multiple products. One of the products that we have in our portfolio is we have a product called Armor 365, which is a voice biometrics product, which is again, completely our own technology, right? So, and the reason for this, and we have a unique product that can identify synthetic voice, versus human voice. You might have heard of a lot of these threats these days on, voice phishing and, all this kind of, issues that are happening in terms of voice-based fraud and all that kind of stuff. So our voice biometric software is firstly, can detect synthetic voices. Secondly, it uses dynamic passphrases. So it's like every time you talk on the phone, if you have to be validated, it'll give you a different passphrase. So even if you have the most robust automated hacking systems, you cannot anticipate what new words are going to be asked to repeat. So that kind of thing really helps in our case. And we do offer this as a package. If customers want to bundle your, like your automation products on voice with our voice biometrics platform, we are open to doing that. Right? So, and typically we see a lot of use today. For example, we work with one of the largest banks in India. And for them, for their inbound contact center automation, we use both voice biometrics and automated bots. And that's very important because you want to prevent fraud while at the same time giving a fantastic customer experience. So I think there are multiple things in this account, that companies need to be aware of threats. But there are products and tools available which will reduce the risk of some of these threats in the marketplace.
And so, what future advancements do you foresee in AI sector which having the most impact on financial sector, especially with regard to debt recovery and management?
So I think if broadly, if you look at lending space, right, most of the companies or banks or NBFCs in India have focused a lot on using AI for, say, collections, right? But the opportunities span across the spectrum, right from, like I said, identifying intent before giving a loan. Can you give a loan over a single call and reduce? Nobody has talked about, today, nobody's talking about reducing the whole operational cost of giving a loan, right? What about onboarding a customer, right? Today, with all the KYC requirements, and other things, the costs are going up, but the companies are struggling on the operational fronts. Right? They end up, for example, very often just keeping on increasing their contact centers, right? But there are multiple ways to automate what can be automated, right? All the routine kind of operations and use, human agents and human processes only wherever needed. Right? So we are seeing a lot of that across the spectrum. Specific to debt collection or debt recovery, we are seeing companies coming to us with a lot of interesting use cases, right? Like for example, if you take gold loans, right? there are about 20 to 30 use cases that can be serviced. For example, right from, like I said, right from granting the loan to handling the collateral to multiple other use cases. So we are seeing use cases across the spectrum. Secondly, companies are now saying that, okay, you're great on the communication front, right? In handling the channels and making sure that we collect at the lowest possible cost. But can you help us with also identifying who will potentially default in the first place, right? Can we look at it, one step before, right? And we are starting to work with some of the customers in this respect as well, where there's a huge potential for generative AI, right? To identify, you know, so not only based on past behavior in terms of defaults, but also and maybe credit ratings, but also in terms of sentiments or what they speak, and multiple other factors that we take into consideration. So take the whole thing as a model and try to do predictive analysis on who will default and where the communication should be moved, right? And who will respond to communication, who will not. So there is in every element of the piece there is a huge element of reducing cost and increasing reducing the overall NPS. Right? So I think there is a lot of things that are happening from a channel perspective. We think that avatars should be something that will come up in the future. We're doing some experiments there as well. Some of the things that companies are coming to us and asking is also, can you do, like your voice bot can handle using our brand ambassador. Right? So we have a brand ambassador for a brand. Can the bot speak in the voice of the brand ambassador and convince people? Now, while all this is today possible in terms of technology, right? At every stage, there is also, a decision that needs to be taken on part of the companies. Is this the right thing for their brand to use it? Are we protecting the rights of the brand ambassador? Are we protecting our own rights by, embarking on this case? So I wouldn't say that everything has been sorted out. I think the technology is there today, and we do all this stuff. But a lot of cases, people would love to experiment, but also want to tread a little carefully considering legal and other reasons. But huge exciting times ahead. Today we are happy to with all our customers for giving us the opportunity to be the leader in this space. But as you're well aware, the way the technology moves, you need to always be on the forefront so that you tend to attract customers and retain them. So first of all, use this opportunity to thank all our customers for giving us the opportunity to service them.
So, last question, sir. Uh, could you tell us about what led to the foundation of Gnani.ai? I mean, you have had your journey of entrepreneurial roots, but what made you to uh, lead to the foundation of Gnani.ai?
See, I think firstly, I wouldn't say it is all planned, first to admit. So Anant and I were colleagues at Texas Instruments, and we were seeing a lot of service companies in India about 6 to 7 years back. Few product companies were trying to come into the play, but they were typically working on commodity software products. So we thought that we should be the forefront of AI and do a deep tech company out of India. Right? So ideally, we want to be one of the first deep tech AI companies to go for IPO. That's our dream. And that's how we started because we had great jobs at TI and we could see that some of the work that we were doing there, right? In terms of algorithms and a lot of work that we were doing on the signal processing side, right, has a huge opportunity in terms of solving the bigger problems in industry. So that's when we started this company. Started rather naively as just focus on building great products, great technologies for first 2 or 3 years. That's when Samsung benchmarked our products. and they found our technologies to be better, and they signed up as a partner for us. But there's been no looking back once we started focusing on the banking and financial space. We can see that there are huge opportunities here. The first thing we did was we went and talked to about more than 100 CXOs in this sector, right? And we very clear that this is a sector that ripe for disruption. Uh, but a lot of credit to, I think, what has happened in India. And I can tell you that working in the US, some of the things that we are doing in India are actually also far ahead in terms of what is done, even in developed markets. So there are a lot of customers in India, some of the top banks, insurance companies, NBFCs, who've been ready to take that risk ahead of the curve, not waiting to copy what's done in the West, but go and uh, say that we will be the innovators, right? I think a lot of credit goes to them in terms of what we've achieved so far. And looking to in the future, like I said, we want to continue as a deep tech company, be a product company at heart, right? While solving problems for our industry.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us. It was a really wonderful conversation. We learned so many things about Gnani.ai, how its products stands out in the market, especially with regard to financial service, and its product and solutions, AI solution in debt recoveries in healthcare sectors. So it's truly wonderful, and I wish you all the best, sir.
Thank you very much, Abhineet. Thanks for having me.